Cucumbers and tomatoes are my favourite greenhouse crops. Grow them alongside one another here in my unheated greenhouse. I have got some shading on the outside of the greenhouse this summer because it's been so hot. Cucumbers are setting really nicely in here, and the main form of the cucumber is that it's trained as a single stem in my greenhouse. As the cucumber plant grows, it produces the one main stem, which here I'm training into a cane support up into the eaves of my greenhouse. So you've got the main stem, you've got side shoots or leaves coming out, and from each node where a leaf comes out you might get one or two flowers or fruits. Flowers will open first, and these female flowers have got a little baby cucumber already forming at the base, and as the flowers set they'll form little cucumbers. So this is the main form of the cucumber. Growing up, I'm growing this just as one main stem up into the eaves of the greenhouse, and your cucumber plant will also produce these tendrils from the main stem. They'll come out, and these can literally grip on and help to support the plant as it grows. But I wouldn't leave things to chance. I do tend to tie my cucumber plants into their supports very regularly as they develop, literally every day or two at the moment because they're growing so quickly. The tendrils can play their part. The tendrils sort of grow out. Here it is, it's gripping onto the tomato plant alongside it, but I wouldn't rely on these tendrils to hold the plant up, because once the fruits start developing, this weight that you get from big cucumber plants could really pull down, and the weight could pull those tendrils away. So don't leave things to chance. Like here, just tie in with string regularly to make sure you've really supported the cucumber as it grows. The thing with cucumbers is that sometimes they're very generous and they produce more than one main shoot. So you'll find out of that main stem, like I said before, you know, you've got the main stem, the leaf, the flower where the fruit will develop. You get these side shoots developing, and when the side shoots develop, you could just leave a side shoot in place but prune the tip of it off like I have on this one here, so that it's got two leaves but it will also produce some fruits from the side shoot. So you could leave those on. You could pitch them out completely if they've got too many fruits. I've got one here I'm going to pinch out in a second. But if the shoots do get very long and you've just got too much congested growth, then there's something else you can do, and that's to grow a new cucumber plant for free. This can be quite useful to have some plants in reserve, or you've even got plants to give away to friends, and all you've got to do is remove that side shoot and use it as a cutting. So what I'm going to do is to take this and show you how to propagate it. The main stem's coming up, side shoots coming out. We've already got one fruit, one leaf developing, and I'm going to leave actually just that one fruit today. I'm going to cut this shoot off just here so that all that's leaving on the side shoot is a leaf on one fruit, and I'll leave those to develop. Now any side shoots you remove can be prepared as cuttings, and I just root these in water. Got a couple here which I took 2-3 weeks ago, and literally now they are ready to be potted up, which we can do in a minute. But the cuttings are prepared, and I just push these down into just a jar, a glass, a bottle of water, and you notice how they've rooted. Now, key thing to remember is that the best roots form at one of these nodes where the leaves and the fruits will have developed. You can notice that here, how all the roots are coming out in a nice little group. Notice it on this one as well. The roots are forming here. That's where there was a leaf and a tendril and flower buds were attached. So on this particular cutting here, I'm going to cut but just below one of those leaf joints. Just cut that away, cut off the tendril, cut off the leaf, cut off the little fruit as well. If there's any other fruits developing, I would take these off because you don't want this extra strain on the plant itself. And I think I will probably take that one big leaf off there as well. So that's my cutting formed, and all you've got to do, as I say, is get some water, jar of water or whatever, and pop that into it and just leave it. I put it on my kitchen windowsill, leave that for perhaps 3 weeks or so till it's really well rooted. And once you've got a good root system formed, like you have on this one here, it can be potted up. And all I'll do is get a little pot of compost, put a layer of compost in the bottom, just get my cutting, just need one in the pot, just put that in the pot itself, just lay those roots onto the compost, get some more compost to fill in around, and don't really have to firm it because the compost will settle as you water it down. Fill it up with more compost, and there you have it, a nice new cucumber plant. You can do that with the second one as well. As I say, just a layer of compost in the bottom of the pot. Get your little cutting, roots, just spread the roots out onto the compost there and cover over with some more compost. I'm using a seed and potting compost which has got very little nutrient in it, perfect for cuttings and propagations and planting seeds. Put in there, and then I've got the 2 new ones. I'm just going to water these well, and these will grow into little plants. A couple I did a few weeks ago now here, and these are already growing nice and strongly. The cucumber plant is growing up, it's already producing flowers and fruits, and I'll just tie this plant into its support as it grows. And during the summer, if I need any spare plants or want to give this away to some friends, or my main plants in the greenhouse run out of steam, I can replace it with these. So just remember, your cucumbers are going to need regular watering, feeding with a high potash fertiliser to encourage good flower and fruit production. Train them in as they grow right up to the eaves of the greenhouse. If the plant has reached the limits of the space you've got available, then just pinch out the tip of the shoot completely. And if you want, you can take some cuttings from side shoots, if your cucumbers produce them, to grow some new plants. So by the end of the summer, if I find that the main plant has run out of steam and all the fruits have been produced up it so far and it's not being productive anymore, I could take this plant out and replace it with a new cucumber plant to go on fruiting for a few more weeks into late summer, into the autumn. So I'll be picking these lovely fruits very soon. This is a variety called Bella, which is producing some beautiful long cucumbers. These are nearly ready for picking, so I'll be able to enjoy these on my salads very soon. I've got a lovely range of tomatoes growing outside, including one of my favourites, Mountain Magic, which is really resistant to blight. So I get a good crop outdoors, and I know it won't go down with blight disease, which can ruin the foliage and the fruits. I try and grow these as cordons, which means I pinch out all the side shoots, but every now and again a side shoot eludes me and I find it suddenly turned into a great long shoot. But you know, this is a really good way of growing plants for free. If you find that you've got a side shoot on a tomato in your greenhouse or outside which has grown too long, you've missed it, you meant to prune it away and you forgot, well, just remove it and we can use this to propagate a new plant, and I'll show you how. Perhaps your side shoots aren't as big as this, you've just got some small ones. I just see one up here on this plant up here. Let me just whip that off there and show you. Maybe you've just got little side shoot like that. Well, you can propagate that in the same way, just by taking the shoot and standing the end in a glass of water. And look, after a few weeks, you'll get new roots develop. All I tend to do to prepare the cutting is just cut below a leaf joint at the bottom, trim off the lower leaves. That's it. If it has got any other little side shoots growing, probably pinch that off. This has actually got some little baby tomatoes already growing on it. Just put that in the water, keep the jar or the glass topped up with water, and you'll soon notice little white roots growing out from the stem that's submerged in water. And once that is well rooted, you can pot it up like I did with this plant here, and you've got yourself a new tomato plant for free. Again, I'm growing these as cordons, so any little side shoots I see growing on these I will pinch out, so that I've just got one main shoot. And on this one that I rooted in water and potted up a few weeks ago, I've already got flowers forming and some new tomatoes developing as well. So it's a good way of growing plants for free. Maybe you didn't buy enough tomato plants earlier in the year, or you'd like a few more, or you want some to give away to friends, and rather than pinch off those annoying little side shoots and chucking them away, you can get them rooted, plant them in a glass, get them rooted, pot them up and grow some new plants for free. It will be the same named variety as the variety of tomato you've grown. It's just a good way of saving a little bit of money and sharing your love of tomatoes with your gardening friends.